everybody, and welcome to Speak Out, the OutWrite podcast. I'm your host, JQ. You can use any pronouns for me, and I'm joined today by...
Hi, I'm Emma. I am a fourth year at UCLA. I use they, she, he pronouns.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm a second year, and I use she, they pronouns.
Hi, I'm Ava. I'm a third year, and I use they, she pronouns.
And now that we've all introduced ourselves, today's topic is pronouns in honor of International Pronoun Day, which we're missing by a little bit, but we're there in spirit.
So true.
Wait, when's the date again?
It's the 18th or 19th, and this episode goes up
Airs
on
on
Saturday.
Yeah, true.
But while we're recording, we are early.
Yeah.
So we can average it out to make it.
Yeah, true. We're
Yeah.
bracketing it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well.
So I feel like, unfortunately, we do not have our neopronouns expert here today, but I do feel like neopronouns are really interesting, and as someone, every day I'm like, but what if today was the day I started using neopronouns? But it feels like a very stressful pronoun set to use because people will fuck it up.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
When you say any, do you ever get like any of your
Oh,
pronouns?
no.
Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Certainly not.
No, that's fair.
Any pronouns, I think, translates in people's heads to she, her if they're straight, and he, they if they're not straight.
Very interesting. True. It's just like the article that Rainer just published about how to be a trans ally. And at one point he mentioned like, oh, usually when people say any pronouns or give a pronoun set, it's like common courtesy to use like all of them.
But some people just like to choose one, and you're like, wow, that's a take.
Yeah.
That's kind of goofy.
That's interesting because when I say a set, I really mean they, but I'm not going to kill you if you use she.
Sometimes I mean that too, to be honest. I say they, she, he, but it's like, what if this is the day that I started going by just they, them, and then what?
No,
Oh,
in
dear.
so many classes I'm like, and I'm they, them, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, literally.
If I give you the option, you'll pick the wrong one.
Oh my god. Wait, that's kind of real
Yeah.
though.
No, like on a name tag, I put the they in caps and the she in lowercase.
That's funny.
Real.
Yeah.
Wait, that's kind of appropriate though, because sometimes it's not even like,
That makes sense.
it's not even like I don't know. I feel like it's not always explicit that like the one that goes first is usually the one that people most prefer. So, just emphasize it even more.
Honestly, I really feel like it's just like pronouns and then auxiliary pronouns where the first pronouns are like too big for your brain to comprehend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too big for
Just
your
like-
brain to cover.
If you're too small brain, you can use
You can, I guess. Yeah, anyways, so pronouns, not equal gender, but do sometimes help with presenting it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do feel like I started switching up my pronouns online, especially as a method of presentation, because I don't have to deal with having a physical body online.
True.
It'd be like, hi, I use he, him, and she, her pronouns, and no one could be like, well, you look like a he, him, so...
Yeah.
True. I still use a different name when I take U quizzes, but that's the only That's the only place. Just because it's silly.
Honestly, I feel like the different name you quiz is like, it's like the online equivalent of when you give a name that you're trying out to like a coffee shop barista.
Oh,
so that
yeah,
they
yeah.
say it and you can see if
Online
it's like,
menu.
does this feel right?
Right.
Yeah.
I've heard of that one. I like that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I tried out my pronouns in a more like not as gender visible place. I first tried them in jiu-jitsu because I feel like jiu-jitsu is a very the version of it I do is a very gender neutral environment. Like there's no like attention brought to your gender. Like everyone wears the same thing and does the same thing. You're not matched up by gender. So it felt like a kind of place where that sort of thing, like where you can try out new stuff like that. And then I realized like I don't really feel like my gender is different, but I still want to be called by this, and I still feel like there's some fluidity there. Which I think there's sometimes a lot of focus on like labeling and like when you start using new pronouns, there's a lot of pressure from society to be like, well, what am I now? Or like to switch as, and I think it's just important to acknowledge that kind of fluidity no matter what pronouns you use.
Yeah. That's another thing about multiple pronoun sets, is in some ways it's good for expressing fluidity, in other ways not, because it's like the same every time, but then you can, like, you know, cater it more to, like, the day-to-day, how you're feeling, I guess. I don't know. I think it's helpful for that.
One thing I do really feel is, I wish it was more normal to use, like, different pronoun sets from day to day, but I always feel like if I do randomly change up my pronouns one day, then people are going to be confused by it, and, like, either use the ones that I don't want them to use, or, like, continue using the ones that I maybe only want to use for a set period, like, indefinitely. And I don't even think that's really, like, oh, that's people's fault. I think that's just sort of one of the compromises that you make to live with other people.
True.
I don't think, like, perfect authenticity of expression is necessarily achievable in most or all cases.
True. That is how it feels a lot of the time. Boo tomato.
Boo, tomato,
We should just be able to look into each other's brains.
Just clock
That's
the
all.
vibes. Everyone just needs to get good.
Literally, everyone needs to get better at clocking the vibes.
It's mandated pronoun pins, and you just like it's
Yeah.
electronic, so you just punch
Whoa.
it.
Just-
in.
yeah. That would slay. I do have a friend who uses like pronoun bracelets so that we can like tell.
Yeah, I think that's such a
Just
cute
off the
idea.
Yeah. They're always forgetting to wear them though, so I'm always like,
Yeah, there you go. There's another
no pronouns
compromise, if
today
you will.
actually.
No pronouns today,
None.
actually.
I mean, real and valid. We
Yeah,
made those
really.
up. Like,
I would say no pronouns, extremely valid way to be. It's another
Yeah.
thing where I'm like, oh, it's another thing where I feel like if I did it, it would be like a terrible inconvenience, and then when other people do it, I'm like, oh, slay. Okay,
It's actually
got it.
literally just fine.
Yeah.
It's like such
It's
a
actually
slang-
not a problem.
My question is then, what do you do in writing? Like, how do you write about someone? Does it like sound? I don't know. How does that sound in writing? Does it sound redundant when you're just using their name?
I think that's like a sacrifice that I'm willing to make usually.
that's fair.
That's the other thing about multiple pronoun sets and like changing pronouns day to day is just, and also like about coming out. It's just like, why does it have to be such a big deal? Why does it have to be such a thing? Like, why do I have to announce it? Like, I know that it like it's so everyone's on the same page, but like I also just don't want to. I don't want to have to talk about that. I just want everyone to like know.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
It's like so, it feels very vulnerable, and then when you want to like do something different, then it's like the same vulnerability all over again.
Oh my god, yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like coming out in a new way every single time, and it's just like, I thought I already did this.
And in fact, you were never done with
You,
it.
oh god, it never ends.
The purgatory of gender expression.
Oh my god, true. Sometimes it's like the euphoria of gender expression, and then other times it's like the horrible purgatory of gender expression.
But it is kind of slay when someone uses pronouns and you're like, ooh, pronouns.
Oh my god, literally. Ooh, pronouns.
It's also really funny because it's just a random part of speech and it has so much power over me.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's like you listen for like when you do those like the North Campus introductions, and you're like listening to be like, is anyone gonna have any like multiple sets?
Is
or,
anyone gonna have like any fun ones?
Yeah.
Are we gonna, like...
Any like original ones, or am I just gonna hear the same basic shit that I've been hearing every single day?
Makes me so sad when I'm the only they them.
No, yeah.
By contrast, when there's like two of us, I'm like, yeah.
Oh my god, true. Okay, no, because I had a similar experience over the summer when I took a class. It was a really small class, and like the TA was like, "Oh, write your like name and pronouns, and then we like get in partners and like introduce each other, you know, to the class." And I was the only they them in the room, but it was okay because I was partnered with this very nice girl. I love her, Ria. If you're listening to this, I love you. She's amazing, and like when she was introducing me, she like used like every single one of the pronouns listed. Like she used they, she, and he, and I was like, you
That
know
is
what's
so
going
delightful.
on? Yeah, right, literally.
I love that. Yeah, I use she, they pronouns, and I feel like a lot of people like forget that the they exist. And it's not like a problem to me because like back to like the pronouns don't equal gender thing, like I still think of myself like as just like a woman, pretty, like cis woman, I guess. Like I'm definitely, I wouldn't say I'm like non-binary or trans or any of that realm. I just like my silly little pronouns and I use them. But I think partially because of that, people like forget that they exist, but then sometimes people like throw it out there and I'm like, oh my god,
Whoa.
I forgot about that. I forgot.
Every once in a while, someone will call me he out of nowhere, like, especially, like, my roommate does that sometimes, and I'm like, I forgot about that one. Like, it's like, kind of real.
Yeah.
Me right here?
I'm like, I can be perceived in that way.
Yeah.
Like, I perceive myself in that way, but crazy other people doing it?
I know. Very wacky. No, it's...
Wild.
That's the other side of the coin, though, is that, like, when people do get the pronouns right, it's like, it genuinely is a very nice experience. Like, it does feel good. Like,
Yeah.
it's for reals.
Yeah, it very much, for me at least, it has the feeling of, like, someone actually listening to you, like, actively impacting how someone sees you, which I feel like does tie back into, like, pronouns as presentation. Like, I'm not sure if I lived 50 years ago, I would have, like, changed my pronouns at all, because I don't think that was incorporated into... I still would have looked like this, let's be clear. I still have like, short hair and absolutely zero fucks given about my appearance. For those of you audio listeners, zero fucks given here.
You gotta give an image description,
Yes,
like we do on the
image
captions of
description.
Instagram.
JQ is a white person with short hair that they have not done anything to today, but they did take a shower.
Yay!
That's slaying!
Woo! That's all you need.
No, straight people are the worst. They always smell. At least gay people even think. Edit that out.
Edit that out!
For some greater, we got cis people last week, and now...
Straight people are stinky.
First hot take of the episode, right off the bat. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Gay people, even
Talk
if they
about
don't put in effort, they still like smell clean. I don't know.
So true. This is so TMI, but my girlfriend doesn't wear deodorant, and she smells fine. So
Mine doesn't either.
Yeah.
And, oh my god, I can't. Yeah. Hi Willow.
Anyways, girlfriends
I
and
was
their
going to
various
say
scents.
something. Oh, I was going to say, like 50 years ago, I feel like even though I would have still looked the same, I wouldn't necessarily have changed my pronouns because I feel like it wasn't so much part of gender presentation a long time ago. Although this may be me being uninformed about queer history. And obviously when I was doing research for this episode, neopronouns and gender-neutral neopronouns in particular have a rich and varied history that goes back to about the 1870s when some guy TM was like, what if I made up some pronouns to refer to, you know how, like, in very formal writing, which fucking sucks, you're supposed to refer to any singular person, even with gender unspecified, with, like, he, and then...
I did not know that.
Oh, it's like, it would be like, oh, each person wakes up and combs his hair, and you're technically referring to, like, women and men.
yeah, okay.
Like the collective is.
I didn't know that was like an official thing. I figured they just did that because they assumed men were the only audience there was.
Yeah.
I mean,
But true, that's interesting.
Well,
Grammar
they
is
say
made up
mankind.
is the thing.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
so they made it, like, official that you just have to assume it's all men.
right.
But then in the 1870s, someone was like, but that's ungrammatical, women exist.
Okay.
So, good for them, I guess.
Good for them for knowing women exist. Yeah.
But I
That
still
part.
do feel like it's only much more recently that gender-neutral single they has become not just like a thing that exists, but a thing that is accepted as a method of expressing a particular relationship with gender that people might actually respect. Single tear rolls down my face.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I was confused about what you said, but you mean like as opposed to just like referring to someone of unspecified gender in the
Yeah.
sense of like recognizing it as a gender pronoun instead.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Because as we all know, singular they has existed in English since.
Yeah.
Oh God, I used to know the actual year off the top of my head, but I don't
Wow.
anymore.
True.
I don't think I know the century, but I think it was the 15th century.
Yeah. No, that's a good long while.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have a note about grammar and how it's made up, because transphobes love saying that it's, like, not grammatically correct to, like, you know, it's an old talking point, but, like, that it's not grammatically correct to use a singular they or to use pronouns, but, like, first of all, incorrect. Second of all, it's made up. It's not real. Like, we decided the rules because we figured out language existed, and we wanted to make sure everybody knew what everyone was talking about the whole time, so we said, hey, this is the rules, so that everyone's on the same page. But you can change the rules. It's not hard.
And honestly, there's like, let's be clear, there is such a class aspect to inventing grammar rules.
Yeah, I learned about that in my
Yeah.
linguistics class. They invented grammar just to, like, make
To
the rich
flex on
people be
who
able to
didn't
sound
know
rich.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same with table manners. Table manners
Really?
are made
That
up.
sounds
Yeah,
good.
fully. No,
Well-
yeah. Like, the whole idea of, like, your salad fork goes here and your soup spoon goes here, made up. It's not like, and that was just so they could say, like, oh, cultures that eat with their hands are, like, primitive and gross, and and also poor people are like that, too, because they only eat with one fork, and rich people eat with a bunch of forks, and they take their sandwiches in a certain way. Like, shut up, bro.
They've never heard of just licking the fork.
No.
To the next course.
No, yeah.
I kept making videos for a while on TikTok of like, this is how you eat like this random like very modern food in like a very etiquette way.
Yes, that one guy.
That one guy, and I was like,
I've never
quite
heard
frankly,
of
if
this
anybody
guy.
told me to eat a hot dog like
Yeah.
that, I
He's-
would walk out with my hot dog
Oh,
and eat it like a
really?
normal person.
I just eat it
No.
in front of them. Like,
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
he's straight up insufferable. He was like, instead of eating a banana like an unclassified cretin, what you do is you put the banana on your plate, you stab it with the fork, and you slice it open with a knife, and then you open it, and then you cut it up, and you eat it. And I was like,
Words from
shut up,
Words
bro!
from someone who owns grape scissors.
Bananas
Grape
come with a
scissors.
handle.
Yeah, scissors so that you can cut grapes. So that you don't have to pull them off the stem like a heathen.
Okay, I mean, that's fun.
Do you not still end up
So
with like
wait.
sticks in your grapes?
Yeah, wait.
Like, how do you
How
pull
does-
that out?
I don't know.
Or it's like
Maybe
a
you like cut
strawberry.
it really close.
Have
or
you never
something.
used them?
No, why would I have used grape scissors?
Then why do you have them?
We don't have them. I just
Oh.
am aware that they're a thing
Oh,
rich people
okay,
have.
Oh,
okay,
so
okay.
true.
True. No, that does not make any sense.
That's really cool.
Pronouns.
Not grape scissors, pronouns.
Okay,
But
so
what were you saying? Oh, no, yeah, go ahead.
So why do some neopronouns have 2, but then like they, them, theirs is like 3? Like there's
Wait,
fey,
okay.
fair, but there's not fey, fairum, fem. I don't know. What was the third
Oh,
one?
but I feel like that's like asking, like, why is it she, her, hers, but then he, him, his?
Yeah, I think it's just getting more specific by including the possessive?
It's the different cases of pronouns. Pronouns are basically the only thing left in English that still declines by case. So he is the subjective case, and him is the object. Grammar!
okay.
Go off.
Oh, okay, wait, sorry, what do you
I'm
mean
not
by...
even an English major. I'm an econ major.
Oh my god,
I
wait.
just read.
This is funny.
We're
Wait,
missing
what
our
is-
neopron expert and our English major tied up in one.
Wait, but by case, what does that mean?
Yeah, the grammatical case. It's like what
Oh boy.
a word is doing in a sentence.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like, oh, he does this. He
Yeah.
is the thing doing
The
this, so that's
subject.
the subject.
Gotcha. Okay.
Used even the copy editor.
Mr.
This-
Morgan.
I didn't know it was
Sentence
called
of what
that.
The preterite says he does.
It's true. Okay, I know subject and object. I just didn't know they were called cases.
Yes.
Anyways.
Trying to do gender-neutral language in languages which have grammatical gender is super cool, and there's a lot
Yeah,
of
like
arguing
Spanish?
about it. And I only know
Or
about
French?
French.
Yeah,
because
okay, yeah.
I specifically took
Spanish
French.
is like ayekis, I think. I don't quote me on that. I know there's a they, them, like there's a gender neutral
Yeah.
but singular pronoun in Spanish that's kind of new. I know because of the
Oh yeah,
Spanish
ella.
Center.
It's ELLE. I've seen some people using it. I don't know exact because like I know it's like ella and ayo is like her and him. So I'm assuming it's aye or
Is
something.
it?
I don't know how it's pronounced exactly.
Okay.
That makes sense. That's really cool. I didn't know that was like a thing that came into existence.
Yeah.
I feel like it's maybe somewhat new. I know at the LA LGBT Center for one of their events, they had like the pins and they had them in Spanish and they had like a gender neutral Spanish.
Yeah. Which is cool. But wait, what were you gonna say about trying to do gender neutral pronouns in gendered or
Oh,
is
no,
it gendered languages?
Yeah, like languages with grammatical gender.
Yeah.
It's really cool. French, the equivalent is el, which is because like il is he and elle is her.
Mhm.
Well, she and he, but whatever. Sorry. So el is like a combination of the two, but the place where it actually gets complicated is like adjectives. Also, they mark gender. So if you want to say like she is like pretty,
Yeah.
or he is pretty, pretty would be a different word for both of those, and then trying to make it so that's like a gender neutral form is kind of complicated.
Right.
Especially because, and this I think is true of a lot of Romance languages, if you have a group of multiple people of different genders, you just always use the masculine
Yeah,
plural.
yeah.
And I think Spanish does it too.
Mhm.
I assume
Does.
other Romance languages do, those who do. So trying to make like that gender neutral is like, oh, it's very controversial.
Right.
The liberals.
The liberals!
Forget the language.
So conservative about their language.
What is?
Like
French.
Like all l'Académie Française does is the French Academy. I don't know how to say it in English. It's like try and preserve the language and like keep it the same. So obviously they hate gender neutral language because it's
They-
different.
Not to hate on French people, but they would. Because I keep seeing those, like, videos about how, like, me trying to speak French to, like, the grocer at the grocery store, and then he's like, you speak English, and refuses to speak French to them, and it's just like,
No, I mean,
they
I
are-
would do that too if someone was filming me though.
Oh, no, like, they're, like, filming, like, a skit. Like,
Oh,
they're acting
okay.
it out afterwards. No, that's entirely fair. That would be fair, but,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
They do
I
have that
know.
reputation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
so I
do.
feel like it's like I feel like French speakers are often quite nice.
okay, slay.
But there is a lot of controversy over trying to write in a gender neutral way, especially because a lot of the time, if it's like a director, male is like directeur, and female is like directrice. So sometimes I write like the EUR ending, which is the male one, and then dot, and then the ICE ending, which is like the female one.
Mhm.
People are like, oh, it's so ugly. Like, why can't we just do the male one? Why do women have to exist?
Oh,
Okay, buddy.
sorry. We'll just stop existing.
Sorry to all the French people watching this who hate gender neutral language, but actually, you're wrong.
You're kind of a hater,
Kinda
not gonna
cringy.
lie. How about
Yeah.
you take a chill pill? True. Anyways, language is made up. Just change it.
Yeah.
Just change
Do
it.
what you want.
Just change it. Let's see, what do I have in my notes?
It's pronoun discourse.
Oh boy, I did not put that in my notes, but you did.
I did. No, we don't have
True.
to get into it.
I don't. The only discourse I've seen on it is like more delicate subject when you come to people of color and like black people specifically, just because like of the whole slaves being viewed as property and objects, and so that kind of makes it kind of like weird to be a black queer person, I guess, when those pronouns are becoming more, when its pronouns are, people are using them and it's like more accepted and stuff. True. Did you have anything? I mean, it was in your notes.
Yeah, I mean,
Because that's the only
It's
thing
like-
that I've really heard about it. I don't know anything else about the topic, to be honest.
like the personal experience, like I have a decently close online friend who uses its pronouns,
Mhm.
and like the shit people say to it is like, I don't know. I feel like, obviously the point you made is totally reasonable and valid, but I also feel like sometimes people take things out on people who use its pronouns who are obviously already kind of marginalized
Yeah.
Yeah.
and trans themselves.
No, I can
It's-
definitely see how it's in particular could, well, and neopronouns as a whole, but it's I guess, not necessarily, anyways, could be even more of a source of, like, backlash, I guess, because, like, I don't know.
They just
You know what?
don't
I don't fucking know where I
Come
was
with the
going.
connotation of being used on people.
Yeah,
ever.
okay.
So trying to like trailblaze that can be
Yeah,
difficult.
it's
It's
yeah, very new. Trailblaze is the right word,
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel like with they them being sort of, at least in like more liberal spaces, being more accepted
Mhm.
as a gender neutral pronoun, I feel like it sometimes comes with people being like, well, why are you using this one? Why can't you just use they them?
Right.
Yeah.
Which like obviously if you're not using that, you like don't feel that it expresses your gender well.
Right. Yeah, I guess people would especially say that about, like, Zazem or Zzim or something like that, because it's like, oh, well, I mean, it sounds similar, so why don't you just use it? And it's like,
Yeah,
that's not the point.
they're not the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
I feel like at some point it's is gonna become reclaimed the way that like lesbians reclaimed dyke, and like I don't know.
True.
I feel like it just needs a lot more time.
No, yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely
the
see that.
pronoun
Because it definitely
discourse.
is, like, I definitely probably have seen it at some point used in like a, like, I don't know, derogatory way towards queer people. Probably mostly like non-binary people who use like they, them when that was like first starting to like surface and be more accepted, and therefore generating like attention. People being like, you know, using that as a demeaning term, I guess. So I can see how it would also carry that double connotation or difficulty. True. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the other neopronouns that I think really get a lot of anger taken out on them, and like prejudice taken out on them, are like the ones that are like puppy self, or like fey fair, or some other things that are more like they connect. I saw, actually, this relates to something that I had on my little notes, and it was that I saw this, I just literally looked up, like, the neopronouns tag on Instagram, and I found this account that was, like, people could submit their neopronouns and give information and show how people go about using them, and there was, like, I noticed there was a lot of things that connected more to, like, concrete concepts and objects, and I thought that was, like, really interesting, because there was something I think that you took notes on that was like, shit, I don't remember. Anyways, those are ones that I think get a lot of hate also from queer people too, because it's like, I see some things that are like, oh, I'm gay, and I think neopronouns are stupid, and it's like, okay, interesting. Let's unpack that.
I definitely, like, the first time that I heard about neopronouns, like, existing at all was people being like, oh, like, all these people who are using neopronouns are, like, so chronically online, and they're taking all of these, like, normal nouns and then making them into, like, pronouns for, like, what reason?
Those are amateur nouns, not
Yeah.
pronouns.
Yeah.
I remember
That's
seeing
right.
it, and I was just like, that's kind of clowny, because, again, we just made this up. Like, we can do what we want, and I don't really care if I have to adjust to using, like, new words to make somebody comfortable, because it doesn't, like, maybe I have to think a little bit more, but it's not that hard.
You should be thinking when you say things anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh-oh, that's where it all comes back to, isn't it?
Maybe just start having thoughts, and all your problems will be solved.
Crazy
That would be
concept.
really great.
But I do love, like, noun pronouns.
Yeah.
Myself, whatever.
No, they're so cool.
Yeah, no, I feel like it all comes back to, like, pronouns as a method of self-expression,
Mm-hmm.
which I feel like is why it gets a lot of hate. Like, it's not actually about the fact that someone feels that star self pronouns represent them well. Like, it's about trying to tamp down visible queer expression that's not sufficiently, like,
Palatable.
normative.
Yeah.
Like, I saw you, in your notes, like, they're not gonna pick you.
Yeah, I did say that. I said that specifically about queer people, because I would like see some Instagram reels. I would see an Instagram reel, and I'd be like, it'd be some like right wing, like, somebody being like, oh, look at this is so dumb, and like talking about neopronouns, and then there would be I would look in the comments, and there would be queer people like, oh, I'm gay and I also think this is stupid, and it's like, whoa. I put a little rant in there, so I'll paraphrase it. But it's like, why would you reject the people who are closer to community? Like, first of all, they're not going to pick you. They, as soon like, you know, it's this.
First of all, they hate Pete Buttigieg.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, they don't they're not going to respect you anymore and think that you're any less of, like, a degenerate for, like, rejecting people who you could find, like, actual community and support in. Like, they're kind of just waiting for a chance to get rid of you, not gonna lie. And so, like, why would you reject your potential allies when, like, they're just gonna come for you next?
Yeah.
Plus, like, queer people are cool, so why would you not want to, like, talk to them and, like, use their pronouns and learn about them? Like,
Plus, and I feel like this might be a little silly of a point to make because we're all, like, pretty young here. and I think I might be the youngest person here.
Wait, yeah.
But
That's silly.
it really smells to me like, when teenage girls do it though, it's cringe.
Oh my god.
Only like, so
yeah.
take out
Yeah.
girls and replace it with like LGBT people, many of whom did think they were girls previously.
Mhm.
It's like, it's just the same thing all over again.
Yeah. Like the whole thing about, oh my god, the worst thing ever if you grew up AFAB, like, stop saying like all the time. Like, oh my god, I had people mock me for that at one point. Like, some, like, fucking old man was like, started putting in like as a filler word, and I was like, you're a bitch. First of all. Second of all, everybody does that. Like is a filler word that is documented and studied to be used for actually multiple grammatical purposes. I don't remember exactly what they are, but it has like 5 different ways that it could be used, and it's able to be specifically identified. It's not just like some random filler word. It actually serves a purpose, but then people latched on. I don't even know how people latched onto it as like teenage girls using it, but then all of a sudden it was like cringe, and then you completely ignore it and your brain like passes over it when it's like an adult man doing it because it's not a
He's
teenage
not
girl.
cringe.
Yeah, because he's not cringe. Yeah. The other thing that I think criticism of not criticism, it's not like
It's not
It's
well
not
founded enough to be
Yeah.
criticism.
exactly, yeah, it's just hate and like whatever.
Shaming.
Being
Yeah.
haters is like a lot of this idea of like cringe culture, which like I put this in my notes, but like a lot of the times this whole idea of like saying something cringe is just like a space for people to be able to be like transphobic and homophobic and racist and ableist without getting called out for it. So let people be cringe because it doesn't exist, and also why do you care, and also it's fun. So
Yeah.
I don't know, something about genuine expression as being cringe doesn't really sit well.
Makes me sad.
Yeah, no, really. Because, like, then there's also this whole thing, like, I guess I've seen this more with, like, straight people, of the whole, like, idea of, like, playing the nonchalant war of, like, trying to, like, care the least amount when you're trying to, like, date someone.
So true.
I know, and it's just, like, shit, man, that's just, like, I mean, like, it's just kind of, like, I don't know, it's not wanting, it definitely, I'm sure, stems from a valid place of, like, being scared and being vulnerable and not wanting to open up to someone, which is, like, completely fair, because it is scary. But then it also turns into, like, a thing where it's, like, how do you even have a relationship after that? Like, when do you stop not caring? How do you know, like, when is it going to be safe enough for you to, like, care, and how do you figure that out, I guess? True.
The only cringe thing is not being vulnerable about your actual self.
So true.
Yeah.
If it is safe for you to do
If
so.
It's safe for you to do so, but if you're like heterosexually dating someone, and it's not safe for you to be your authentic self, maybe break up with them.
Maybe you shouldn't be with that person. Crazy idea.
Also not showering. That's cringe.
Talking to you,
Charlie's cringe.
Who are we talking to?
Also, queer people, though, please shower.
Oh my god.
This is the moral of this episode.
Showering
That's the takeaway. Showering slays, literally.
Use pronouns and shower.
Use
Yeah.
pronouns.
Yes.
Or don't.
Or don't.
I mean, use pronouns for other
Use-
people if
yeah,
they so
use
desire.
the
But if you
pronouns
don't want
people
pronouns,
you to
throw
use,
them
but,
out.
like,
If they don't bring joy, don't keep it.
I feel like
This
someday-
also does not apply to showers. You have to shower.
Yes.
That part's
If
not-
that does not bring joy, you still have to do
Anyways.
it.
You do
Ava,
have to
what were
shower.
you saying?
Oh, I was saying, I feel like someday pronouns are gonna become like as common as like asking people's name and then not like people look at you wrong when you use the wrong name on them, and like other people judge you when you like purposefully use the wrong name on
Right.
someone. And I feel like it's just gonna become the same way. Like, oh, like there's more than 3 pronouns, there's more than 3 names. Like, why aren't you asking and then like using the pronouns associated with this person?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just like you wouldn't just call someone by a random name.
Yeah, exactly. No, I saw. Yeah, that was another thing that I saw, that it was like conservatives love to say that it's like, oh, but it's like so hard. Like, do we have to learn all of the 78 gender pronouns? It's like,
First
I
of
mean-
all, they're all way more regular than the pronouns that have been in English for a really long time.
right.
Because they haven't had the time to get fucky.
And the tiny, yeah.
That is the technical term.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Second of all, you also don't really need to know all of them.
Yeah.
Just like the
Literally.
ones that are relevant to the people around you in your
Right.
life. Like I always like see new things and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I'm not gonna think about that unless it becomes relevant.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
there's a lot to think about. And I'm like, you know what? If nobody around me cares about that right now, then I'm not gonna think about it. And then if somebody decides to identify as this or use these pronouns, then it's like, okay, I'll learn it then. But until then, I'm not gonna stress out about like flashcarding.
I was gonna say,
all
do
of
they
the
think that we have
pronouns.
flashcards?
Yeah. We gotta study the pronouns, guys.
This is the elementary school that liberals want.
You
1
can-
hour
It's
every
my
morning,
first day of
pronoun
pro-
flashcards.
My first day of pronoun high school. They don't realize I'm cis.
No!
I feel like so much of the resistance is there just because it's new. Because, like, I mean, they, them has had, like, such a arc of being used as gender expression, like we talked about earlier. But, like, people are just so resistant to wanting to like, understanding new things that they just lash out instead. It's really goofy of them.
It is kind of silly of them.
I mean, that happens within the queer community, too. I mean, we talked about queer people hate on neo-pronouns. I think it's because they have, like, these little boxes that they like to create of, like, this is this and this is that. And that's also the pressure on labels. Is that, like, everything has to fit into its nice little place, or else it's cringe, and I hate it.
Mm.
I don't know.
No,
I'm
yeah.
just saying things now.
No, I think that's a really good point. I think also, okay, actually I have 2 points I want to make now, because I'm just built different. First,
Really?
I think a lot of the pronoun sets that do receive the most hate online, apart from, like, just being new, they also express a gender that isn't just male, female, or some hypothetical non-binary that exhibits, like, perfect androgyny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because someone who uses, like, pup self pronouns isn't that clearly expresses something, but the something it expresses is not like, oh, and I'm an approachable, like, thin white person
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
who's very androgynous. And
Yep.
so I feel like in some ways, because it is even more non-normative than someone who's, like, stereotypically non-binary, I feel like that can, like, reach even more hate. And then I feel like on top of that, because it requires accepting, like, new kinds of people, that
Crazy
means,
idea.
I feel like it just folds back into, like, but if we're normal enough, like, the Republicans might like us again.
Yeah, someday.
Girl, why do you want
someday.
Republicans to like you?
Yeah.
Come on
Yeah.
I feel
now.
like that's a
We're
personality
never gonna get
flaw.
there.
Like, if Republicans liked me, I'd be, like, considering what's wrong.
That's so true.
Real.
No, that's how I know. This has been said many times, but I know my outfit is good if old people look at me a little bit weird.
Real. I know, I feel like at this point in my life, though, like, I can't tell if people are looking at me weird because I'm wearing an outfit or because I'm wearing a mask.
Oh shit, yeah, that's really
so
kind of like it.
true.
No, I saw Min post on their Instagram story, like, just got yelled at by a frat guy for wearing a mask, love being back in school, and I was like, yikes.
Yeah.
Cringe.
Goofy.
That's actually cringe.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, yelling at people in public randomly
Mhm.
when
Yeah.
they're, like, not doing anything.
When they're
And just
literally
minding
not
their own
bothering you.
business, Yeah.
Man, I wish people would just be nice to each other.
No,
And I
literally.
know
That'd be
this is
crazy.
the coldest take on earth. Oh, like, fucking
No, that one might be
incredible.
controversial. We might have to cut that one
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Let me censor it.
Yeah,
So
true.
people can't hear it.
No, but something about the way that, like, people just have to talk about it if they don't like something. Like, I don't know.
People
Like, the fact
care
that you
so
have to,
much.
like, bother somebody about it because they're doing something that you don't like that literally doesn't affect them. That's what it's always come back to for me, is, like, if you never interact with this person, you don't even know them, then why do you care so much, like, what they're doing with their life?
You don't need to use their pronouns. You don't need to talk about them.
Right, literally.
Yeah.
You don't need to, like, if you just see somebody, like, on the internet and you're not, yeah, I don't know. That's always what it's come back to me, is, like, why do you care so much?
I feel like the internet is just so toxic because people.
Sure.
Like, you you try, like, you need to mind your own business, but then you're just, like, it caters your, like, feed toward these people, so whatever you're angry about, like, you're more passionate about hate sometimes than about things you like, and it just feeds you all these things, and then nobody minds their business. I don't know. Don't harass people with pronouns. Eat your hot dogs like a normal person if that's what makes you happy. I don't know.
Eat your hot dogs.
Eat a fork.
Eat your
Yeah.
hot dogs like however you want. It's really none of
Yeah.
my business, but I don't think you should let someone on TikTok tell you how to eat your hot dog
Literally.
Yeah.
or how to use your pronouns. They're yours.
They're yours. You own
you
them.
pronouns.
You know that meme with the skeleton that's like, if it sucks, hit the bricks?
No.
No.
What?
Like, if the situation is bad, just leave, and it's like a list of things.
Oh, true.
Like someone being mean to you. I don't remember anymore. Like, if your job is bad, it's like a skeleton running. It's like, if it sucks, hit the bricks. That's how I feel about pronouns.
That's great. I
If
love
you
that.
hate pronouns, hit the bricks.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, I don't know. I guess it just comes back to, like, needing to reinforce, like, the norm and the status quo. And I don't know, I'm not enough of a psychology person to know where that fear comes from, but, like, I don't know, it's just like middle school bullying, you know, like, just, like, needing everybody to be, like, the same, I guess, or, like, the idea of normal and, like, so, like, strongly rejecting anything that's outside of that. And I don't know.
I mean, there's
Maybe
always
it's an evolution thing. I don't know.
Power dynamic.
it's always like the out group,
True.
in group kind of thing.
Yeah,
You know, like they're always people. I mean, they'll say like, "Oh my God, like immigrants are coming to take our jobs," or like they'll say that like queer people
with neo-pronouns
are.
coming to take your respectability.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I mean, there's like the
Respectability.
villainization of queer people as like pedophiles and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they'll just make shit up to make people that they perceive as someone else as the enemy to their values or to their groups. So that even if like queer people are just minding their own business, they're like, this person is a threat to me and to my values and to my in group.
Mm-hmm. That's actually, I learned about this in my communication and propaganda class. That's actually one of, like, the ways that you develop propaganda is to create an enemy.
Yeah.
So that says something. That's interesting. What do we need people to rally behind so that we can have an enemy?
I feel like you're asking the queer community. We already have an enemy. It's everyone who's trying actively to kill us.
Oh no! I mean the other side. Why do you need queer people to be the enemy?
Yes.
What's like behind
Why are
that?
you
What's
so
the
Yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
alternative agenda? Yeah.
I feel like it's just enforcement of social norms. People fear that when social norms are not enforced, because like norms and social rules are kind of what holds society together in a way.
Yeah.
But I think depending on different people's social groups, they have different norms. Like, I mean, people in religious groups, they have religious social norms and they fear deviation from those because of, like, just consequences of not following those norms. And I think it just makes people fear the unknown and fear the different. And I think the queer community to a lot of people is unknown and different. And I feel like that's just a general life thing. You fear the unknown, you fear the different. Like people just don't like change in general, and I think it takes a lot of like conscious thought and conscious effort to learn to accept change and be open to the perspectives of others.
And I do feel like it is really important work, even within the queer community, to have that radical inclusivity, to expand sort of who we're willing to, like, not even let in. No one needs to be let into the queer community.
Yeah, but
But to,
except
like,
in our
see
minds and
to-
hearts,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, to see. Yeah, that's very true. It's hard too. It's like working through your own biases and thinking critically about like your visceral like gut reaction to something is like definitely very important to do because it can help you like see and identify the unconscious things that you do in your own mind. And I think that is really important for us to, not to make a blanket statement, but for us to like move forward as a community and actually be together as a community.
Cause I mean, it's a everyday choice that you have to make, and you have to make that choice multiple times a day often. So, cause like, I mean, that's something that I've been working on, and I think we should all be working on, because no one is completely free of biases, but sometimes I'll have to be like, why do I feel this way about this thing that a person is doing that I don't know, that is going to be gone from my life in 10 minutes, that will never affect me? Like, why do I care so much? And I'm like, but I actually, now I don't, because why would I? Why would I put energy out into caring about what this person does when they're trying to just be happy and live in this really fucked up world?
Fucked up world.
This
We should-
dog
we
eat
should
dog
end
world
this-
that we live in.
Yeah, we can't end on fucked up world. What's something happy we have?
Yeah.
Let me see. We've definitely got some happy things in there. Oh, okay, yeah, actually, I wanted to come back to something that you put in your notes and that we briefly touched on, which is, like, the whole idea of neopronouns having extra connotations. I think it's super cool that especially, like, object and noun pronouns, sorry, I'm thinking about your pronouns pun. I got really distracted by that just now. It took me, like, a full minute to understand it, but then I was like, anyways, I think that object and noun pronouns are super cool because not only are they like expressing the identity, they're also like doing something more, and I can't put my finger on what, but they're like also a part of the identity, because like I saw on this Instagram account I found, it's like rainbow gingerbread gender, and it was like, oh, this gender is like with like relating to rainbows and gingerbread, and I was like, that's so cool, because like you're literally expressing parts of your identity through your pronouns, I guess, if that makes sense. And it feels like more than what, like, and maybe it's just because she, her, and he, him, and they, them are neutral enough in our minds because they're used that they don't have an extra connotation,
I feel like they're
kind
incredibly
of.
rich in connotation.
Right, but
but
almost to the point of,
not-
like, meaninglessness, because there's so many
Well, I
connotations.
feel like
guess?
it's more that they aren't associated with anything except gender. Whereas
Okay,
something
true.
like rainbow
Yeah.
gingerbread, that's not strongly associated with gender at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. It's that. Anyways, I think that's very cool, and I think it's very creative, and I always love the way that queer people figure out ways to express themselves and present themselves, because, like, I did read something once that was like, oh, it requires, like, kind of a bonkers amount of, like, self-reflection and understanding and, like, looking within yourself to sometimes to realize you're trans, but then also to, like, explore that identity and explore the way that you want to present and stuff like that. And I definitely had that, like, when I started, like, realizing that I was non-binary. It was, like, I had to do a lot of, like, looking and perceiving, and that was, like, crazy. And I don't know. It's cool, because you learn a lot from it.
I do feel like, and this might be going too broad, I do feel like the work of becoming happy or getting to a place where the resting state is contentment. I feel like that's very difficult work for everyone, regardless, like in general. And then if you're marginalized in some way, whether that's being like queer and trans or like any other form of marginalization, I feel like there's so much more in society actively working against you that it just feels so shitty to point at someone and go, I'm going to work even harder to make it difficult for you to be happy and content with where you are.
Yeah. No, definitely. So don't do that.
Yeah. So don't do that.
So don't do that. Crazy idea.
I feel like that's a good moral to end on.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So don't do that. It's
So don't
like,
do that.
yeah, it's exactly how we, like, I don't remember what episode it was last year where we were like, we ended on like, so let queer kids be like cringe and figure out what they're doing. Like, sometimes people are gonna be annoying, and sometimes, oh my god, this is something that I've had so much trouble with lately, is like, sometimes you're gonna be annoying, sometimes there's gonna be people that don't like you, and that just means that you're like a whole person, and not just like, I think the words were like a mirror for them to like, or like, you know, whatever, and I was like, interesting idea. Gonna have to give that one some thought.
I feel like it. I don't want to quote a Taylor Swift lyric, but the deal of like a friend to everyone is a friend to no one.
Yeah.
Where like if everyone likes you, I don't know. I feel like maybe you should take a look and be like, why am I making myself this palatable person. Like,
And why do Republicans like me?
Right? Yeah, there you go. It comes back.
A great question.
It's like, I don't remember whose quote this is anymore, but there's a great quote that's like, what a privilege it is to be hated by the right people.
Oh, yeah. So fun.
Use your pronouns.
Use
be
your
hated by
pronouns.
the right people.
Yeah.
Woo.
I love you.
Change your pronouns if you want to.
Yeah.
Change them every day.
Pronouns are just silly little words that we created.
Yeah.
A collection of sounds.
And with that, I have been JQ.
I've been Emma.
I've been Ellie.
I've been Ava.
And we have been Speak Out. You can follow OutWrite on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and you can read our articles at OutWriteNewsmag.org. That's right, spelled WRITE. And remember, don't be shitty to other people.
Whoa! We can end every episode like that.
Yeah.